Well, yeah, I was sitting back, watching a little bit of sports, but I could talk about polygyny. Right now, I had a couple minutes while I was just chilling. But yeah, polygyny. Polygyny. As he said, there are some guys out there who are not for polygyny. I understand. And I want to define it for you in a correct way. Polygyny is when a man can have at least 2 to 3 wives. Now, polyamory is when a woman cucks her boyfriend or her husband. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when a man is actually really the leader of the relationship, and he has at least 2 to 3 wives. In this society, is not applicable. It's just not applicable. I read some guys' comments in the comment section, and they would say things like, "Oh, women are too much stress," and they would say things like, "Well, how would you handle that financially?" I couldn't. The guys would say, "Well, I wouldn't be able to handle that financially. Women are just headaches." Yeah, even being with one woman, she's a headache. But guys would say things like, "Yeah, financially, you have to be able to take care of those women," and I would agree. I would totally agree. But I wouldn't say monogamy is the best thing for women, or well, the best thing for men. Monogamy is the best thing for women. A woman should be with one man, one spirit for the rest of her life. That's how it should be, but not for a man. A man should have at least 2 to 3 wives. And if you think about it, how could a man cheat if he got 3 wives? He can't, because he's thinking about nation building, building his family, building a business, this and that, stuff like that. If he has a online business or a business that he's doing in his house or whatever, he got some little some small business besides his main job. Or if he's not working at all, and he just has his business, he could have his wives, plural, as employees. See, and we all stacking together. We all getting this money together. You got some men out there who would look at men and try to have. That's why I don't subscribe to the New Testament, because there are some contradictions in it. You got the New Testament talks about men one wife, and well, here's some scripture in the New Testament as to where it talks about a man should have one wife and a woman should have her husband, and people, they take that out of context. A woman would always refer to a scripture like that in the New Testament, but I don't follow the New Testament. I follow the Old Testament. When it talked about Jacob and his brothers in the Bible, and they went to other lands and got multiple wives, the Most High didn't call that a sin, did he? He didn't say that was wrong. Not at all. You got King David, all these guys. I mean, even though things went haywire in their lives, it's because they was doing something else besides having 3 to 4 wives. It didn't say that, oh, well, they were sinning because they had multiple wives. No, it didn't say nothing like that. But at the end of the day, I subscribe to the Old Testament. That's what us Hebrew Israelites do. That's it. Christianity would tell you be with one wife and just be exclusive to her forever. I don't think like that because I follow the Old Testament. Now, you got some guys out there that would say things like, well, okay, well, I would want to be with 2 to 3 wives because that would cause stress. If you think about the president's position, they say if you're able to be the president, then you can deal with anything in the world. And in a sense, that's true. But if you think about the president's position, he's dealing with everything. If you think about being a CEO of a business or just a boss of a business, you have to deal with multiple employees anyway. You have to deal with women and them being on emotional roller coasters. You have to deal with some men being emotional. You have to deal with people being late, not showing up to work. You have to hire and fire people. You have to deal with all these different personalities. So it's like you as a man, when you come home, it shouldn't be hard for you to deal with your 3 wives. It shouldn't be hard to do that. But the thing is, you got a lot of men out there that are against it because they've never been taught how to run a polygynous relationship. You see? And it's all in a sense, you could equivocate it to like a pimp. If he has like 5 or 6 girls that he's controlling and that he's leading. And I mean, as a man, you just have to have the gumption to do it. You have to have the gumption to do it. And that's one way to show women that you are superior to them. That's one way to do it. You see? I mean, and I'm not saying that I'm totally against monogamous relationships, not at all. I mean, I'd be in a relationship, be in a monogamous relationship. Like I'm totally fine with that. As long as I'm in control. I have to be in control. I have to be able to boss up on my woman, check her when she got out of line. There's certain things I can do in a relationship that she can't do. There is no equality. You see? That's my point. I want you guys to really, really get that. You have to get that. Give me your comments and your questions in the comment section below if you guys have any. I'm not here for major fans or whatever. Just I'm not doing it for money, you know. I just feel I say to myself, I've learned a lot from brothers like Adagon, True Quad, Black Ram, Forrest, Black Men, Last Crucible, Thinking Man's Templar. I learned a lot from guys like them. And I said to myself, I want to be able to stretch my hand back out. Coach Greg Adams, I want to be able to stretch my hand back out. And even guys like AMS, I'm not going to hate on them. Like at the end of the day, we have some disagreements. Yeah, we have some disagreements, but we black brothers. And that's the bottom line. That's just how I look at it. And we can work together. We can come together, put those small differences aside. We can work together. But some people that have this tribal mindset, and I see some black brothers, they'll just knock each other out over a disagreement. They'll talk bad about each other on these YouTube platforms and demonize each other, us as black men. It's just not cool. That just won't get us anywhere. But so yeah, when you in a polygynous relationship, some women, they look at it as like, well, all men want sex. No, it's not about sex. It's about nation building. If I got 3 wives, I'm not running around thinking about sex all day. Of course, I probably have to have sex 2-3 times a day for each of my women. But if you think about it, most men, we jerk off or we have sex with one woman once or twice a day, at least 2 times a day. When I was with my last chick that I was with, we had sex at least twice a day. In the morning and at night. Sometimes in the evening, then at night. Yeah, so, I mean, hey. But for the main thing, you're going to be trying to nation build. That's what you're going to be trying to do. You're not really going to be thinking about sex like that. You're not. And if you think about it, that's one way that a man wouldn't cheat. And by the way, I don't think a man can cheat. But that's one way a man wouldn't cheat. Because if you're sitting back, if you got 2 to 3 wives, and you, let's say if one wife is on her period, okay, you could just go to the next wife. Let's say one wife is tired or whatever, okay, you could just go to the next wife. Let's say one wife got an attitude or something like that, okay, you can go to the next wife until she get her mind right. You discipline her by neglecting her, and then when she get her mind right, then that's when you can correct her, then you and her back on the same page. Because like I said in my last video, you have to, us as men, we have to discipline our women. Because at the end of the day, women are like children anyway. They're really emotional and all this other stuff. You can't let them have their way. If you do, if you let them cuck you out like that, then they'll run all over you. If you let her take you down to downtown and marry you legally, the white man's way, she'll cuck you. So then she'll divorce you. She'll look at you as being less than a man. If you are a yes man, a passive man, a weak man. And in a sense, us as men, we have to learn to take the power back, especially black men. We got to learn to take the power back. One less simp. One less simp in this world. This is what we need. So yeah, and then if one wife if she's pregnant or whatever, 8, 9 months in, you could just go to the other wife and have sex. Because there will be sometimes being in a monogamous relationship where the woman will act out. She will have a nasty attitude. She just don't want to listen, or or let's say she tries to use sex as a weapon. Because I talk to a lot of women about that, trying to use sex as a weapon. That will have an attitude. Because let's say you stayed out at the bar till 11 o'clock at night, and you screened her call or whatever. Now you come home and you want to get close to her and make love because that's your vagina, that's your wife, you're my property. Now she don't want to do it. So it's almost like, listen, we're going to have sex whether you mad or not, or you're going to allow me to go out and get it from somebody else. Because for the most part, I don't see men don't do that. Men don't use sex as a weapon. If a woman wants to make love or have sex or whatever, and she come downstairs or she walk into the room with a little lingerie on, or she just touching on the man is going to go slam her. The man is not going to get emotional like women do and curve her and say things like, oh, you know, because you did this, I don't want to have sex with you. Most times men don't do that. Men just don't do that. You see women doing that, and they do it for control. Men do it for control. This is why you have to have at least 2 to 3 wives. I'm totally for that. Polygyny is the black man's way, the way to go. Now, this monogamy stuff, that's for white men, you see. In my opinion, if you disagree, leave a comment. And, hey, we can agree to disagree. It's not a big deal. We brothers and we chopping it up. That's all. That's just how I look at it. So I look at another angle of polygyny. Us as men, we haven't, like a lot of guys are, a plethora of men are totally against it and they reject polygyny because they haven't been taught how to be in a polygynous relationship. And this is why some men, when a woman in a monogamous relationship, when a woman use sex as a weapon, a man would just go out and seek sex and seek attention from another woman. And then now the man is called a cheater. Society gonna ostracize him. The woman is gonna take him through family courts and divorce and child support, all this other stuff. Because a woman doesn't want to have duty sex. It's a woman's duty to do what she's supposed to do in a relationship, to keep that man sexually satisfied, to keep his belly full and his balls empty. This is what she must do. If she doesn't do that, then the man will go get it from somebody else. You see? So polygyny is very advantageous. You got a lot of guys out there that are totally against it, and I understand. And like I was saying earlier, I can be in a monogamous relationship as long as that woman knows that I'm okay. That as long as that woman is okay with me stepping out and going getting some different vagina. As long as she's palatable to that, as long as she's okay with that, then I can be in a monogamous relationship. Because you got some women out there who will try to, like I said, they'll try to use sex as a weapon. They'll get an attitude and act like they don't want to make love to their husband. So it's like, what do you expect me to do? You want me to jerk off every night while you laying in the bed right next to me? You my wife. You supposed to be providing for me sexually. And you running around with an attitude trying to use sex as a weapon. That's a major problem. That's why as men, we're supposed to deal with women through a position of power. This is what we're supposed to do. And so in a polygynous relationship, it's not primarily all about sex. It's just, I say, one of the things is you showing women that you are the leader and you are the boss of the relationship. Because when you in a monogamous relationship, it's just the pros and cons of monogamous relationships. Well, not the pros, but the cons. The cons of monogamous relationships. So when you're in a monogamous relationship, it's almost, I'd say, a woman will see that you have no options. So then she'll act out. She will just, because she knows you don't have no options, so she'll act a fool. She'll just act crazy. That's why I say if you are in a monogamous relationship, you should always have at least 1 or 2 other chicks that you're talking to on the side. because she can't go through your phone anyway. You remember I talked about that. Your woman isn't allowed to go through your phone because that's equality. If she can go through your phone, then just not like you're not bossing up on her in the way that I feel that you should. There is no equality, guys. She is to submit to you. You are superior to her, bottom line. Certain things that you can do that she can't do. That she can't do in a relationship. Certain things that you can do that she can't do in a relationship. Yeah, when you're in a polygynous, when you're in a monogamous relationship with her, she'll know, okay, well, he don't got no options, so I can act out. I could become cantankerous. I could just act a fool because she know you don't got no options. Like, she looking at you like, well, he not going to go nowhere. I'm married to him. I got 2-3 kids by him, so I can treat him any type of way. I can control him. I can boss him around because I know he not going to go nowhere. That's why it's not good to put chains on yourself by marrying her contractually or by having kids by her. You can't. And it's crazy because men, we want a family, but living in this climate, and brothers preach all day, it's not good to have kids. It's just not advantageous to have kids because those are like shackles on your wrist. Once you have them kids, a woman will change up. Once you go and get contractually married, a woman will change up. She's like a chameleon. She know you don't have no options anyway. You walking around wearing a marriage ring. Don't wear a marriage ring. Make her wear it, though. It's all about control. You have to learn to control your woman. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds bad. But to a certain extent, control is a good thing. If you're a man of honor and you're doing it the right way. That's what it's all about. You got some guys that go out and get drunk and they come home and they want to beat on their women. I'm not talking about those men are just OC. They don't know how to control their emotions. They just doing it all wrong. And they effing it up for introspective men like us, like me. And just, no, you getting drunk and you coming home and you going off on your woman, putting your hands on her. That's just being out of control. Now, I'm not against a man putting his hands on a woman. I'm not against that. But in America, you can't do it because it's legal. Because it's not legal, so you can't do it. But yeah, if a woman jumps up in your face, I'm totally for that. But like I said, I wouldn't do it. You guys, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't provoke you guys to do it. But that's one way of disciplining your woman, though. I'll probably make a video about that as well. That's one way of disciplining your woman. Because if you got some guys that's sobered and he working every day and he just has his mind right. And if a man disciplines his woman by physically putting his hands on her, that's not bad at all. That's one way that you check your woman. Overseas, I think it's in one country over there, men are allowed to switch, and you can switch your wife like 2 to 3 times if she acts out. It's in some culture. It's in some culture that you can do that. Overseas somewhere. You can do it, yeah. You can discipline your woman like that. Women are like kids anyway, bro. They're just like kids. And in a polygynous relationship, you have to be able to discipline your woman. Sometimes I discipline my woman that I was with by just going downstairs. I would make her go downstairs, sleep in the basement, or I would go downstairs and sleep in the basement some nights. I'll just give her no attention until she comes to me and she apologizes and she get her mind right, or I would take her phone. I'd take her phone for like 2 or 3 hours, and I'll just turn it off and throw it in the kitchen drawer, and we sitting back watching TV until she ready to talk it out and she see it my way, because you got to see it my way. I know what I'm doing. Just a righteous man. I know what I'm doing. So you're going to have to see this thing my way. That's the bottom line. But, yeah, polygyny is one way to boss up on your women and to let them know that, hey, you are the head and you are the leader and you can do this thing. Because a monogamous relationship is just, it's just, and the monogamous relationships, this is all we have out here. And the white man don't want black men to be in polygynous relationships because then that would clean up the community. All these these women that have chances to be single mothers, that wouldn't happen. Because now, as a man, you'll have at least 2 to 3 wives. And all these men, they'll have somebody. Because naturally, if you think about the numbers, it's like 7 billion people on the earth. And it's more women than men. So what are you going to do with all these single mothers out here? What are you going to do with these women who can't find men and they got to sleep around and sneak around with married men? And this is where polygyny comes in at. And polygyny helps women as far as sister wives as well. Because in a monogamous relationship, you got one woman. Both of you guys get off work, the woman and the man. She comes home. She has to fix kids dinner. She has to have sex with her husband. She has to clean and wash the dishes and make dinner, do laundry. And of course, a man can help. A man cut grass, take out the trash. And if the woman is cooking, the man can clean the dishes. But you get a lot of women out there who will carpet complain and say, being a mother, if a man wants her to be submissive, she has to do so many things. And this is why in monogamous relationships, they go downhill. Because a woman, she has so much on her plate to do. She has so much to do. And this is where a sister wife comes in. In a polygynous relationship, this is where sister wives come in at. But women are so jealous and they just don't know what they're doing. So you got to make a woman do the right thing. If you leave it up to her, she's going to vote for feminism and destroy the world through becoming a single mother, and a daughter possibly becomes a slut, sleeping around with different men, or a son may become a criminal. And in my case, in a sense, in my early 20s, that's what I was. I didn't have no dad. I joined the gang. I was selling dope, selling weed, and I just totally became a criminal. Because I didn't respect me and my dad wasn't there, so I didn't know no better. But in a polygynous relationship, that is the way to go. The white man don't want to see black men in a polygynous relationship, because then that wouldn't help the economy. Being in a polygynous relationship, the divorce rate would go down. Child support would go out of the window for black communities. We would be able to keep women in line. When a woman wants to try to use sex as a weapon, she acts like she's too tired to have sex, then you just go to your next wife. Polygyny is beneficial in a lot of ways. I have a lot of other points that I want to talk about as far as polygyny, but I just can't. They're just not popping up in my head right now. But so I mean, if you guys got any comments, or if you disagree or you agree, or anything you want to add on, just leave a comment in the comment section.